Steve Jobs' story doesn't begin with fame, technology, or Apple. It begins quietly, on a cold winter day, February 24th, 1955, in San Francisco. A small hospital room, a newborn baby, and a young mother who had to make one of the hardest decisions of her life. Steve Jobs was born to Joanne Schiebel, a college student who wasn't ready to raise a child. She loved him deeply, but life didn't give her a choice. She wanted her baby to have a future she couldn't provide, and so, on the very first day of Steve's life, he was placed up for adoption. He didn't know it yet, but that decision would shape the destiny of technology, design, and the world. When Steve was just a few days old, he was adopted by Paul and Clara Jobs, a simple middle-class couple. They were not rich, they were not famous, but they had something powerful: love, patience, and a promise to give their son every opportunity possible. Clara held him tightly, whispering, "You are special." Paul told him, "You will do great things one day." That newborn child had no idea that these two people, in a small California home, would become the foundation of his entire future. Growing up, Steve wasn't like other kids. Even as a toddler, he was curious. He would stare at objects for long moments, as if trying to understand how the world worked. His father noticed something unusual: a spark, a sharpness, something bigger than his age. Paul began teaching him how to build things with his hands. He showed him tools, wood, and little machines. And Steve listened, carefully. This bond became one of the most important influences in his life. As Steve grew older, Clara encouraged him to read, explore, and think differently. She taught him patience. She answered every question, no matter how strange or difficult. Steve later said, "My mother taught me to believe I could achieve anything." But his early life wasn't perfect. In school, he was restless, distracted, always thinking beyond the classroom walls. Teachers often saw trouble, but inside that trouble was imagination, creativity, and a mind preparing to change the future. The truth is, Steve Jobs' journey didn't start with computers. It didn't start with inventions. It started with a young mother's sacrifice, with two loving parents who believed in him, with a child who questioned everything, and with a destiny quietly waiting to be discovered. On his first day of life, Steve Jobs was just a small baby in a blanket. Fragile, silent, unknown. No one in that hospital room knew that this tiny child would one day redefine phones, computers, music, movies, and the way human beings connect. From the very beginning, Steve Jobs was not born into greatness. He grew into it. He built it. He earned it. And his story reminds us all that sometimes the biggest dreams begin in the most unexpected places.